Coming up, dinosaurs run rampant at Lawrence Gardens.
Then see how some members of the community are taking action on the events unfolding in Palestine.
Finally, take a look at the historic season taking place for UNO's hockey team.
All this and more on the Omaha News.
Good afternoon, I'm Samantha Pastorino.
And I'm Dayton and Sarah.
Holocaust researcher Dr. Jan Grabowski recently spoke at UNO. Reporter Ben Barafinito says that Grabowski's study of Holocaust misinformation is increasingly relevant.
The UNO History Department recently hosted its annual Winchell Lecture with keynote speaker Dr. Jan Grabowski. Grabowski is a Polish-Canadian history professor from the University of Ottawa, and much of his research focuses on something called Holocaust distortion. While not total denial, Holocaust distortion is a dangerous practice in which facts about the Holocaust are deliberately blurred, like how many lives were lost, who was responsible, and who suffered. According to Grabowski's lecture, the recently ousted Law and Justice Party in Poland has pushed such a distorted history. In a 2022 article for the New York Times, Grabowski cites a poll of Polish citizens on the Holocaust. It indicates that almost half of Poles think of the Auschwitz concentration camp as a place of mostly Polish suffering. Holocaust and Genocide Studies minor Quincy Epley attended Grabowski's lecture and says his insights were compelling.
Being able to learn the historical perspective and then how people are twisting the narrative now was really, really interesting.
Since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October, Holocaust distortion has increased around the world. To fight it, the executive director of the Institute for Holocaust Education, Scott Littke, says education is key.
If it's misinformation, misunderstanding, usually we can help to provide the right material and, in a sense, correct the approach they're taking.
As for Grabowski, he suggests that sites like the concentration camps should be placed outside the influence of any one nation.
The Polish government has sued Grabowski for his work, but he continues to conduct his research and advocate for academic freedom.
Ben, has Grabowski faced other challenges for his work?
Yeah, besides lawsuits, Dr. Grabowski has faced direct threats. He was giving a lecture last June in Poland when a far-right Polish lawmaker walked up to him, grabbed his microphone from his hand, and smashed it, shouting, "Lies, lies." It should be noted that an overwhelming majority of the academics in the field support his research findings.
Thank you, Ben.
UNO's independent student newspaper, The Gateway, faced financial and situational drawbacks last year. Reporter Samantha Pastorino shows us just how the student newspaper is operating this semester.
The Gateway experienced adversity last year. Their budget of $30,000 was cut. The website for online publications became filled with viruses. They lacked an office space and a publications manager. This left the Gateway in dire need to rebuild. Advertising manager Stephen Pura says last year's hardships highlighted the endurance of some Gateway members.
That cut never happens where we lose the salary and we have to pull from other funds like reserves and stuff like that, or other sectors of our budget, then you don't get a situation in which the passionate people rise up to the challenge to make sure something good happens.
Pura says passionate people is exactly what saved the Gateway. When veteran journalist Todd Cooper stepped in as publications manager this semester, he immediately took on the challenge, wanting to not only be a manager, but also a mentor.
I want to help them in the way that professors helped me back then, the advisors at the Daily Nebraskan helped me.
After a transformative semester, the Gateway's budget was returned and up to $35,000. Their website is up and running again, they've produced print copies like this one, and they moved to a bigger office. The Gateway is thriving this semester, even traveling to cover the UNO Mavericks last week.
There's something to be said about having a passion for something bigger than ourselves, because still now, and as we move forward, there's always a conversation of like, how do we make sure this is the best so when we hand it off?
Both Cooper and Pura say the Gateway's goal is to hold a mirror to the university and keep telling other people's stories.
The Gateway plans to put out a second print copy later this semester.
Lawrence Gardens is known to bring a variety of exhibits. Now they're trying something a little bit more prehistoric. Reporter Peter Hollebeck follows the story.
Lawrence Gardens is roaring to life with their new exhibit, Brickosaurs by Brick Live. The exhibit shows a herd of over 30 different dinosaur sculptures made up of over 1.5 million plastic bricks. The exhibit is predominantly displayed in Lawrence's indoor gardens and conservatory, with the bigger dinosaurs being showcased in their floral display hall. The exhibit includes tactile displays that younger visitors and families can interact with.
I love it. I think it's really fun. It's fun to see the facts about how many people it took to build it and how many hours and how many bricks they used. And kids can climb on some of the things like the truck over here. But yeah, it's been awesome.
This is Brick Live's Brickosaurus exhibit's first time being shown in the United States of America. Their sculptures, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, take over 800 hours of building time and over 260,000 plastic bricks. But make sure you watch where you're going when visiting this exhibit, as you might come face to face with some dangerous foes.
First and foremost, it's an art exhibit. They are sculptures that are using plastic as a medium, and they've taken something that's rigid and angled in many cases and has a limited set of colors and created creatures that are very organic and lifelike.
The exhibit includes signs that show the build stats as well as the time it took for each sculpture. The exhibit will be on display until May 12th. Lawrence and Garden members can visit the exhibit for free or for the price of regular garden admission. Just watch where you put those fingers. For the Omaha News, I'm Peyton Hollowbeck.
Hey Sam, what do you call a dinosaur with a good vocabulary?
I don't know. What's that, Dayton?
A thesaurus.
I'll give it to you. That pun was dynamite.
Okay. Coming up next on the Omaha News, we'll see how some members of the community are reacting to the events unfolding in Palestine.
Then we'll take an in-depth look into the current Adderall shortage. Don't go anywhere.
Create, perform, communicate. College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media.
Nearly 3,000 student athletes competing in 19 varsity sports from 9 institutions. Compete for nationally ranked teams to become academic All-Americans and NCAA champions. Nearly 100,000 students and more than 800,000 alumni celebrate their schools as they rise to reach the summit. The Summit League, where tomorrow's leaders reach the summit today.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha's bookstore is home to more than books. The UNO bookstore accommodates all students' needs with phone and laptop repairs at the iFix UNO station or free residence hall delivery. The bookstore, located in the Milevale Student Center, is full of Maverick merchandise. Find sweatshirts for chilly Nebraska days or cozy UNO mugs for every coffee fix. Shop anytime at unobookstore.com.
We all have a story to share. And we all deserve a place here at UNO where we can share that story and for it to be really heard. We want to welcome you to a new event called Our Stories for our UNO community. We'll celebrate together April 23rd. It'll be a wonderful time at Strauss Performing Arts, and we'll see you at the event, Our Stories. We believe that what makes us unique is going to truly bring us together.
The Israeli military has left Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital destroyed after a 2-week raid. Reporter MJ Atai details how the people of Omaha have been inspired to speak out.
Groups throughout Omaha have been speaking out and rallying support for their respective causes in the Israel-Hamas war. The Jewish Federation of Omaha has an emergency fund for Israel on their website. The organization says, "We remain steadfast in our unwavering support and stand with Israel for as long as necessary to eradicate the Hamas terrorists." Nebraska Palestinian Rights Task Force and Students for Justice in Palestine Omaha host protests and events to raise awareness about the tragedy in Gaza. Pediatric nurse Willie Massey worked in the West Bank and Gaza early last year and says the situation in Palestine is heartbreaking.
People go into tiny little cages like animals to cross the Gaza border, the one of the checkpoints, like cattle.
Once a week, members and supporters of Nebraska Palestinian Rights Task Force and Students for Justice in Palestine gather at 72nd and Dodge under the Crossroads sign to protest what is happening in Palestine. Co-president of SJP Omaha, Elise Smith, says people should care because it is about humanity.
It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're Arab, if you're American, there should be no one on the planet that can look at what's happening in Gaza or even in the West Bank and think that it's acceptable.
According to AP, U.S. and Israeli officials had a virtual talk over their debate on a Rafah military operation on Monday. U.S. urges Israel to have a plan to relocate non-combatants. According to AP News, an Israeli airstrike has killed 7 World Central Kitchen workers in Gaza. This news has fueled the passion among pro-Palestine protesters who are here today at 72nd and Dodge under the Crossroads sign. Back to you in the studio.
UN humanitarian coordinator Ramesh Ramazingham says a quarter of Gaza's population is close to famine. The Gazan Health Ministry has reported that 27 children have died due to malnutrition and dehydration in Gaza.
There is a growing concern gripping communities across the nation, the Adderall shortage. Reporter Dayton and Sarah reports, as demand for the medication rises, pharmacies struggle to keep up, leaving many patients with ADHD scrambling for alternatives.
In October of 2022, the FDA announced the nationwide shortage of the ADHD stimulant Adderall. Roughly 10 million adults and 6 million children depend on this drug every month. Kale LaVox's experience as a former pharmaceutical sales rep gives insight behind the reason for the shortage.
So if your Walgreens or Hy-Vee hits their monthly quota on stimulants, they cannot distribute any more stimulants. It's a federal offense. So it's closely monitored. And with all the influx of new patients becoming Adderall or stimulant users, the quotas were still on the baselines from the year prior, and they didn't keep up with the demand, and it surged past it, so nobody could get their hands on it. The pharmacies specifically couldn't get their hands on it to distribute it to the patients.
With a perfect storm of lack of ingredients and an increase in demand by patients, online source Medscape states that there is no end in sight, and LaVox says there is no solution.
The people that really do need it there's nothing you can do for them, and that sounds horrible. And kind of where I was going in the beginning is psych is one of the last frontiers. We don't have an exact cure for really anything.
A statement by the DEA in 2023 stated that 17 out of 18 drug manufacturers plan to use their full quota and increase production for that year. This was good news for Kirsten Beaver, who takes Adderall. However, she states that Adderall has been difficult to acquire as prices have increased.
Insurance is constantly telling people that I'm not willing to pay more than this much for you, so figure out how to scramble up the rest. And it's not okay on any level for any medication.
According to Kirsten, addressing the Adderall shortage and ensuring access to ADHD medications is crucial for those who rely on them for treatment.
If you're someone grappling with ADHD, know that support is available. Consider utilizing resources like UNO's counseling and psychological services, or reaching out to organizations like the Attention Deficit Disorder Association for guidance and assistance tailored to your needs.
After the break, UNO's Student Athlete of the Week.
Then we'll take a look at the historic season unfolding for UNO's hockey team, right after this.
The media landscape is vastly different from the past. Conglomeration and consolidation have changed the skill sets required to succeed. Journalists must not only know how to conduct research, interview, and write stories, but they also have to know how to shoot and edit the stories they tell. Likewise, creative media professionals must know how to interview, research, and write the stories they shoot and edit. In the School of Communication, we require students to gain experience and proficiencies employers are seeking. The two hardest mediated genres to produce are live sports and newscasts. Thus, once our students are taught the basics, they are given opportunities to improve the abilities at these genres. Capstones 1 and 2 feature the culmination of skill sets. Once students produce the Omaha News, they can use it in their demo reel to show their skills. From here, students can go anywhere.
I never thought I'd be standing in the clouds looking down on the ancient ruins of the Incan Empire. I never thought I'd live among the street artists in Valparaiso. I never thought I'd make friends that would last a lifetime.
Adventure's out there, and as Mavericks, it's up to us to find it.
Stop thinking, start doing. Visit educationabroad.unomaha.edu.
This is Omaha Sports, where we'll share the latest sports scores, triumphs, and stories you won't see anywhere else. Good afternoon, I'm Connor Schmidt. First up, a recap of this week's sports. In baseball news, the Mavericks won its series against Oral Roberts this past weekend, and Omaha's own Caleb Rydell was named Conference Pitcher of the Week. The UNO tennis team went undefeated this weekend against Oral Roberts and Minnesota State University Mankato. After going 4-0 in her matches, Zoe Adkins was named a Summit League Ticket Smarter Peak Performer of the Week. All season long, the Mavericks hockey team put on a show for an average of 7,043 fans, the most Baxter Arena history, and fourth in all Division I hockey. Reporter J.L. Johnson catches up with valuable players from this historic season.
Omaha hockey made history this year, making it to the NCHC Conference Tournament. Senior assistant captain Matt Miller talks about how this group of guys is special.
The culture of our group is awesome. Like I've said it before, all the way from our coaches to our captains and leadership crew, all the way down to the youngest guy on the team. It's just fun being at the rink with these guys. Putting in the work doesn't even feel like putting in the work. We're here long hours, but we enjoy the process and we love being around each other, and so that's what makes it fun.
The Mavericks brought in 8 newcomers this year with 5 transfers and 3 freshmen. Nolan Sullivan, fifth-year senior captain, explains that the group meshed together quickly.
Can't say enough good things about who we've brought in to just join the group this year, and I think you see it, like they just haven't missed a beat, and I think everybody got in and got in rhythm pretty quickly, and that's just a testament to having a lot of, I think, just solid leaders in our older group, and then young guys just willing to just do the work to get better and take this program to the next step.
With 10 seniors on this squad, Miller says the last 4 years have been about growth for this Omaha hockey program.
Just to see myself grow, and along with the group of other seniors and fifth years, it's been an awesome experience, and they're lifelong friends.
The team ended their season with 5 consecutive sellouts at Baxter Arena. Sullivan said he found his passion again with this group and the community of Omaha around him.
I think this group's really just brought back that love for Omaha, that love for what we do here on a daily basis. And a lot of it comes from guys just making fun of me and cheering and just giving me a hard time. But it's just like, those are the memories, I think, that kind of stick with you in the long haul. And
for Omaha Sports, I'm J.L. Johnson.
Last Thursday, the hockey team season ended with a 3-2 loss against Minnesota in the first round of the Sioux Falls Regional. The Mavericks' historic season ended with a 23-13-4 record. On Monday night, sports viewership records were shattered. The Iowa versus women's college basketball game is now the most watched women's basketball game of all time, with 12.3 million viewers and a peak of 16 million viewers. The previous record set last year was 9.9 million viewers, with a peak of 12.6 million. Our athlete of the week is UNO men's tennis player Brian Kuntz. He has returned for his second year at Omaha after his surgery last year that forced him to learn how to walk again. Follow reporter Lillian Tiemeyer to see his journey post-surgery.
What was once a series of bad headaches turned into a brain tumor. Brian Kuntz had to face a series of challenges his first year at UNO. During the fall season of 2022 at the Drake Invite, Brian was playing his first round when he got a severe headache that caused him to lose his vision. After that match, he went to a medical doctor on campus who told him to get some images of his head, which turned out to be a tumor near his cerebellum. A week later, he received the surgery, which was a success, and recovered fully. Head coach Matthew Barlow says being a head coach and having a player go through an operation like Brian's changed his perspective, but also has made him appreciate the life he has been given each day.
As a coach, especially at this level, we get stuck in the day-to-day grind of
pushing and developing and trying to get better and reach our individual and team goals. But at the end of the day, there's more important things in life. And it just shows that we just need to be grateful and appreciative every day.
Brian's surgery was 6 hours long, and he had to face the challenges of learning how to walk again and regain coordination. Brian says that the team last year only knew him for a short amount of time, but their support was incredible, and he could not have asked for a better support system.
They knew me for like 3 months, and they would come visit me every day. They helped me walk, they brought me food, they would do anything for me. So it's just crazy, like the bond we have after all that.
Head coach Matthew Barlow says that Brian has been such an inspiration to him and the team.
Just a true inspiration, honestly. I mean, anytime we think we have challenges, if the team thinks they have challenges, we just look at Brian and we're like, man, we're just motivated to get through anything we're facing, and it's really brought the team together.
For Omaha Sports, I'm Lillian Tiemeyer.
Brian has made a full recovery and has been playing in the top positions in the doubles lineup and has been playing in the 4th spot for the singles. He has brought some big wins for the Mavericks by being a clinch player against Weber State. The Omaha men's tennis team will compete this weekend against Denver University at the Miracle Hill Tennis Club. This weekend, both the softball and baseball team will take a trip up to St. Paul, Minnesota to play a weekend series against St. Thomas. That's your sports for this week. I'm Connor Schmidt. Be sure to join us for our final sports update April 10th right here on the Omaha News.
There's a unique educational experience right here in Omaha. With access to top-rated programs, in-demand degrees, and a worldwide community of graduates, UNO prepares students for life, wherever it may lead. From Omaha to Italy to Uganda to Japan, Mavericks are working in communities around the globe. So where will a degree from UNO take you? UNO, access to exceptional, access to the world. Learn more at unomaha.edu.
Coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Faded press to a full.
A group of friends formed a band in 2003 at a 4th of July party. Now they're performing at shows across Nebraska and Iowa. House inside the Horseshoe Casino over this weekend. This band performs country music covers at venues like the Dock Bar, Bushwhackers, and Therapy Bar and Grill. Last week, 30-year-old Jake Prokowski joined the group. In June, the Rustic Rebels Band will have a private party in Wakefield, Nebraska. Then in August, the band can be seen at the Country Drive Golf Course in Ashland, Nebraska.
Records were once the biggest innovation in music storing and distribution, and while many new technologies have come and gone, they have been making in resurgence in recent years. Join Jerome Bradford as he dives into the world of vinyl and the people that love it.
Vinyl records have delighted many music fans since the 1900s. In 1939, Columbia Records developed vinyl technology and introduced the 12 long play LP 33 1/3 RPM microgroove record. Prior to the LP, there was no way for artists to release more than a handful of songs. This created the modern album because each side could hold more than 20 minutes of music. Owner of Grapefruit Records, Simon Joyner, says music fans receive a more interactive experience when listening to vinyl records.
I think it just has to do with, it's more tactile, there's like, it's aesthetically more pleasing, to have the artwork to look at. And
Bertha Rock coincided with the rise of the LP. Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, and Bill Haley revolutionized the sound of popular music. Mono copies of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club are considered rarity among record collectors. Manager of Vinyl Cup Records, Tammy Wagaman, says that new artists making vinyl brings in new people to the shop and as well as turns them into collectors as well of vinyl.
A good mix between the two of new and used is good. It gives the customers a variety of what to look at. You're also bringing in people who maybe wouldn't normally look at a record store.
According to Billboard, last year's Record Store Day, which was held on April 22nd, helped sell a total of 18 million vinyl albums. For Omaha News, I'm Jerome Bradford.
Record Store Day is on April 20th this year. It is a day to enjoy for record lovers and stores. This is a day when many popular artists will be offering limited, hard-to-find, and special edition vinyls.
That's all for today. Join us again next week for more news and entertainment in the Heartland.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at UNO The Omaha News, or find our website for even more news and stories at unomahanews.com.
From all of us here at UNO Television, thanks for watching.
For me, it's about understanding the process of communication and what we learn through that process.
So something that you'll find within the School of Communication graduate program is that there is such a rich field of expertise.
I can think of no other discipline where we spend so much time focusing on not just one side of the conversation, but all sides of the conversation.
Not only do you get to work closely with other graduate students that come from all different walks of life, but you get to learn from graduate faculty that take those perspectives and help you grow yourself in a way that teaches you to be an academic, but also lets you be you in a really unique way.
I chose UNL very specifically, not just because I live here, I'm proud to represent here, but because I thought their program offered strengths that I didn't see in other programs.